Any excuses is just sour grapes.
We're in the business of winning.
And I think that the spotlight should go on top of me. Yeah.
We're in the business of winning.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
We're in the business of winning. We're in the business of winning. We're in the business of winning.
Don't bet against me.
I don't bet anyway.
Don't lose your life.
We're in the business of winning.
Don't degrade the champion at any time. Yeah, I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better. On balance, off balance, doesn't matter. I'm better than you are, yeah. I'm on my way. And nothing is gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna stop me.
And we had non-believers all along the way. I have one thing to say to those non-believers. Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. Follow your heart, kid. You never go wrong.
All right, we're live.
We're back.
It's been a while. All right, we just want to get into it or what?
I can't believe you just dropped the mother of all topics and then say, let's just keep it cordial, no debate.
No, we won't debate because we've already debated this enough. But I think it's a good topic, though. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, so we were going to talk, as the title says, we were going to talk about OU and UT moving to the SEC. For those who don't know, I'm glad we're both wearing our shirts. Ian's a big UT guy, and I'm a big Aggie guy. So I know when I was younger, I went to a bunch of games. I'm sure Ian, you went to plenty of games too when you were going there or what have you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I went to the game in Austin where Ricky Williams broke the record on us. I've seen a few others, so but yeah, definitely like we're both big fans. So yeah.
I was there the year that that three-way tie happened. The what was it? The Sooners, the Longhorns, and
Tech.
Was it Tech? Texas Tech. That three-way tie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't attend that game in person, but there was like some kind of.
That was in Lubbock, I think.
I think it was around Halloween, maybe. I feel like it was a costume party or something. I was in the back room watching this game, just getting super, just mad, more mad by the minute. Didn't enjoy the party at all after that.
Didn't they do it by a coin flip?
I'm not sure how the Big 12 decided it. I think one of the tiebreakers was the BCS ranking, and that was changing daily. I think it went all the way down to that. So I think the BCS decided it by putting OU a little higher, and it was like flipping back and forth. You could like watch like live updates.
Damn, dude, that's crazy. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
Oh. My ice maker is so fucking loud, it drives me crazy. But yeah, anyways, so one thing that we've argued about a lot is Aggies leaving the Big 12 and whose fault that is or what have you. We don't have to debate about it, but essentially, the Longhorns did the Longhorn Network with ESPN. They did the contract deal. And for the record, like, I get the angle of where you're coming at, where, like, we did it for the money and the exposure and all that. I don't necessarily like disagree with that. It's just that you have to accept the ramifications, right, of doing that. That's where I think we disagree in terms of like, I understand where you guys are coming from. Like, you get the money, it's a big deal, it's a big opportunity. Like, I get all that. Like, it was almost historic in many ways. I don't think ESPN had ever done something like that before. Am I right? I don't think so.
No, I think that, yeah, and I think the thinking behind it was other schools in the future would do something like this, but it didn't work out too well. So I think that's what ended up keeping other schools from doing it. Because I was reading all these articles today to kind of like get back in the mindset about it, and they kind of thought like other big schools were going to do something similar, and then maybe they just saw how much it didn't work out for UT, or I think conferences then rushed to lock up everybody in TV network deals. But the Big 12 had just made, they didn't have a network, but they had just made their $1 billion deal with like Fox and ABC and ESPN. So they had locked all that up. So there wasn't going to be a Big 12 network as far as football. So I think the Longhorns were like, well, we got this too. Let's try this and see if it works. And then it was a historically, I mean, well, it worked out for the Longhorns financially, but it was kind of embarrassing.
I think it kind of hurt you in the long run, to be honest.
Um,
But yeah, but see, I guess I kind of remember a little differently, because I remember like Baylor and Colorado and A&M saying like, hey, if you do this, like, you're kind of forcing our hand a little bit. Like, we may have to do something different, or like we may have to leave or whatever, right? If I remember right, there was plenty of that going on before the deal was signed.
I remember Nebraska when they split the Big 12 and Nebraska no longer played OU. They were like 1 foot out the door anyways, because they were like, what's keeping us here? And I think the Pac-12, when I was reading today, it seemed like, you know, like ESPN reporting created like a sense of panic. Like the Pac-12 had reached out, I guess, to Texas and OU, and maybe Oklahoma State, one other school, and then like ESPN releases that article, and then Nebraska's like, well, now we got to move. Like, we think we're going to be left behind. Colorado's like, we're definitely going to be left behind if there's a deal. So let's jump to the Pac-10 at the time. And then it created like all this panic where Texas and OU weren't even going to go to the Pac-12. I don't know if they were in talks. I think it was just the Pac-12 had reached out to them. And then so people started just kind of jumping. And then I think the Aggies played it well in the fact of, we want to leave anyways, but let's just blame it on them on the way out.
Well, like, but I guess this is where, like, we disagree. Like, I say you guys are to blame. Like, like, one thing, the Longhorn Network's a huge recruiting advantage. Like, to tell people you're going to be on a 24/7 network, to tell kids that, right? Like, you're essentially going to be able to be on TV 24/7, and let's not kid ourselves. Like, football's going to be 75 to 90% of it, right? With basketball being the other 25 to 10%. You know, like, that's a massive advantage to go into kids' homes and tell them that. And I think A&M just, like, I mean, we had to like nut up and move, right? Like, I mean, I understand, like, historically we're kind of the second fiddle to Texas and the Big 12. Like, I get it. But, like, we can't just take that, right? Like, we can't just be disrespected like that. We're not a nobody, right? We're maybe not on Texas level on average, but we're not a nobody. And I think, like, it forced our hand. Like, we had to do something, and, like, going to the SEC, and then Colorado left and Nebraska left, and essentially the Big 12, you know, for the long and short of it, kind of became the
third conference, really.
And if you take into account that Clemson got good, and I guess maybe like you guys in the Pac-12 or maybe like sort of the last two conferences out of the Power 5 for a while, but I do blame Texas, like, not trying to be just an Aggie homer, but like, I think the writing was on the wall. Like, if you guys do this, we have to do something. Like, we can't just take this, and it doesn't really benefit us. It hurts us. Like, in going to the SEC, like, we have nothing to lose, you know?
In reality, though, it worked out so much better for the Aggies.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think the thought at the time was they'll go there, but they won't compete. Who gives a shit?
We'll get crushed.
And
That was
then,
the thing. The Aggies will get crushed in the SEC,
yeah,
is what everyone thought.
and it really was like the begin. It was like right at the beginning of the SEC, like winning all these championships, right? Like Florida had won 2, but their thing was kind of done. I think Urban Meyer had already left or was about to leave. And
Florida
then,
had won 2, but Les Miles got one in there with LSU, and Cam Newton got one in there with Auburn.
At the beginning of like still there was parity, but it was like right at the beginning of what was going to be just all SEC run. And then the Aggies, they got in, and then
Manziel, we got lucky with Manziel too. And Mike
competing
Evans.
right off the bat, beating Alabama at Alabama.
Yep.
I was at a wedding, and they literally, after like doing the was it nuptials? Nuptials? Is that right? Said and pray for the Aggies today, like kind of a joke, like ha ha ha. And then we're at the wedding reception, and they're beating Alabama. I remember that. But yeah, no, it did work out for sure, because then as the SEC is blowing up, if you look at like kind of the timeline with social media as well, so like recruiting is blowing up much more because it's easy for these kids to talk to each other, and the SEC is the hot shit at the time. And I think that's why it's kind of stuck, like the SEC talent-wise and all that, is because it blew up at the same time as like social media, and the Aggies were there for that, and it really has benefited them.
Yeah, also like to go into the SEC, right, and to be like the only team from Texas to playing in the SEC, I think is really what it was. Like, we now have a huge like leverage to like UT can say like, hey, we're like this more historic football program. We're trying to win championships, and A&M gets to say, hey, we're playing Bama and LSU every year. Like we're now in the best conference in the country, and essentially we get to go into Texas recruits and say that, like kids in the state of Texas. And then so like Ren has a good question. He's like, would the Aggies have done it if it was if we could have? And like that's why like I don't get mad that y'all did it. It's just that you have to accept the accountability. Like, let's say we had done it and Texas is like, fuck it, we're going to the SEC then. If you guys do that, I would accept like I would say like, yeah, we did this, but like it's, we also forced Texas to leave, right? Like you have to, that's the only difference I think, is that Texas wants to be like, well, y'all would have done it. And it's like, yeah, that might be true, but then you have to like accept the fact that like, yeah, we're kind of the reason why the Big 12 sucks now and everyone left. And now you guys are coming to the SEC.
I think more the reason the Big 12 sucks is just that Texas was sucking. When it was OU and Texas were doing really good, the conference as a whole was really good. I think Texas not doing well for a decade really hurts as one of the like top 2. It would be like Alabama or Georgia kind of sucking. I guess there's more teams in the SEC. There's more room to pick up the slack, but Kansas is never going to be like a perennial contender. So it was more top heavy, I think, in the Big 12. And then when you're down to 10 teams, you really need those like blue bloods pulling their weight. And Texas did not pull its weight. Literally from the start of the Big 12 or the Longhorn Network, did not pull their weight, and the conference suffered.
Yeah, but like
I do agree
from a
with what you said.
historic rivalry point of view, like losing the UT A&M, that's a big draw, like even nationally,
I'm so excited that this is gonna be back. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's almost like for sure Texas viewed OU as their like primary rival, but having a decade off and just the constant shit talking back and forth between two fan bases, like makes this this game is definitely, I feel like, gonna be bigger the first 5 times they play for sure than Texas OU. I'm gonna, at least for me personally, I'm gonna be looking forward to the Texas Aggies game, because Texas wants to be able to say "told you so," nothing's changed, and the Aggies want to say like, "Yeah, we're playing big boy football now. Y'all ain't shit anymore." So it's like, it seems like there's more on the line, because Texas OU been playing forever.
Yeah, like we could both be 0-10 going into that last game, and like it'll mean everything. Like it doesn't matter. We just want to win that one game. I mean, like I gotta admit though, like it kind of sucks because A&M being the only Texas team in the SEC is like a huge advantage for us, and like that's going to disappear now, which definitely sucks. On the other hand, the NIL has started now, which I think I've said it before. I think A&M has the most to gain from the NIL in terms of like Texas and A&M, like they're right here with the money, but Texas is already up here. Like A&M has the most gap, I think, to like fill or recover or take advantage of in terms of money, that they can now kind of close that gap between being like a tier 2 or like very bottom of the tier 1 and hopefully like getting up on, in the top 10 every year.
And it kind of, I believe the first year of NIL, the Aggies got that number 1 class, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally the very first year.
Yeah.
So
they definitely spent the house on it for sure.
And you hear, we talked earlier this week at Saban's making remarks like, he sees the money being spent, and I think if Saban's saying anything, then it's got to be perceived as a threat.
Like when he complained about Manziel, the Aggies play too fast, like, and then
the fast offenses.
We ended up beating him, so he was definitely worried about something. Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, he's complaining about the money being spent now, even though there's no shortage of money being spent at Alabama. It might not be the same across the board in all sports, but they're going to be spending a lot of money.
Yeah, they're up there too. Just Aggies are just not on that level yet. Hopefully the NIL changes that. I mean, I kind of think it will, or I hope it does. I don't see why it wouldn't. Like if we're literally out there buying a top 5 recruiting class every year, that's got to pay off at some point. Even maybe if we don't win a national championship, like I would say we have to at least now be somewhat of a threat every year. Like it's really on Jimbo, I think, now. And I always thought Jimbo's a good recruiter. Like I don't really have any doubts Jimbo can recruit. And I think last year kind of doesn't look good, but I still have faith he's going to recruit, be top 10 at the worst, I think, from here on out. But
yeah, I think last year it was only top 15 because you were on the heels of a number 1 class. So you usually don't follow that up with because they had a ton of actual numbers wise, like a ton of actual recruits. So you do kind of take a step back usually.
Yeah, and it's the one position, the QB, that's the complete X factor in football, as we all know. So not having a QB deliver or come through with all that talent around him, definitely feel like you kind of missed the lightning in a bottle possibly, but we'll see how Connor Weigman does. I think he looks good. He looks confident. He looks better than Haynes King, I think. He was a 5-star, essentially. Haynes King was a 4, so I would hope he materializes better than Haynes King, but I mean, obviously we'll see. Game's not won on paper, obviously. But good.
I was gonna say it kind of brings us to that 2024 first season.
Yeah, exactly where I was going with it.
The Longhorns, I believe, play at College Station.
So is that official? The first game?
Yeah, it's gonna be back-to-back L's at home for you boys.
It's all right. We'll take it. That was the last point I was gonna get to. Is I know we joke around and stuff, and it's always Aggies are scared and stuff. It's we can't go running back to y'all. We made a move. We have to stick by it. And I was trying to think of a good analogy, and I was thinking in The Social Network, whenever they kind of screw his business partner out of the shares. You know what I mean? They offered a bunch of shares and they all bought it so that way he could take his business partner's percentage of the company down. It's almost like that, and then it'd be like if Zuckerberg went back to that guy 10 years later and was like, "Hey, I got another business opportunity. You want to come in it with me?" It's no, even if I think it's a good idea or it sounds legit or the contract's foolproof this time, we just can't. We can't go running back. We have to kind of stand our ground a little bit, and so that's why I was it's not that I don't want to play Texas, it's that we can't play Texas. It's just bad business on our end. In a way, it's we kind of have made this move. We've closed the gap. A&M's had some good years here. I wouldn't say we're necessarily eye to eye with y'all per se, but we're definitely close. In the last few years, I mean, I would argue we've had, considering where we came from, I would say we've had a better how long has it been? Like
It's
5?
been for sure a better run,
Yeah.
which has sucked. Yeah, I mean, I think Longhorns had like 3 or 4 losing seasons in that decade or whatever it is since they left. I know for sure 2 with Charlie Strong, 1 with Sarkisian, so that's 3 right there.
Yeah. So like it's just one of those things like we just can't. Like as much as I want to play y'all and shit and it'd be awesome, it's just like we have to stand by our decision in a way, and it's not so much like we're scared or I don't want to, but it's just like we kind of nutted up, we made our call, like we can't go back. Like we can't go running back to the ex-girlfriend kind of thing. Like we have to kind of make them come to us a little bit. And like I think we command, or right now we do. I hope we don't have another bad year or two here, but we definitely are like commanding a little more respect than what it was when we left the Big 12. That's for sure.
And they lose the benefit of like the only Texas school in the SEC, right? But
Still
being able
only
to
2
pitch
though.
like a legit, like now both schools get to pitch this rivalry game, which is already known for most kids growing up, right? I mean, I imagine some kids probably now in high school, since it's been a decade, maybe don't have like the reverence for it as we do, but it is still a game. If you play football in Texas growing up, you know about it. And
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be a great sales pitch on both sides. I can't wait for this game. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, and I think, obviously Texas got the better of us in the Big 12 historically, but I'm hoping now like these changes have kind of happened that it's going to be a lot more even, hopefully going forward. I would think so, especially with the NIL and stuff. But, yeah. So how are you feeling? I mean, I'm sure you guys are excited. I mean, the SEC is way better than the Big 12. I mean, this is essentially like we're playing championship playoff football now before the BCS even starts at the end, or the
and they're going to be
playoff.
expanding the playoffs, so it's going to be even more. You probably get in.
Is
a
it 8
couple
teams
teams
now?
I don't know if they're doing that at the start of this year or not, but I know they have agreed like it will be going forward 8 teams. I just don't know when it starts. So you're going to have you could get 3 or 4 in from one conference.
You
If
could get
that
like
conference
4
is doing
SEC
really good.
teams, yeah.
Unless they got some kind of rules for, conference champions get in. I know they're doing a kind of just every team in the SEC plays 8 other SEC teams. Is that right, in 2024?
Wait, I'm seeing 12-team playoffs starting in 2026.
Oh, 12? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
no
6
8,
conference
Just going straight to
champions.
12?
6 conference champions ranked highest by a selection committee with no minimum ranking requirement, plus the 6 highest ranked teams not included in those 6 conference winners.
Nice. So conference champions and then the remaining 6.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's going to be that you'll probably have 4 SEC teams, I would imagine, probably on average year in year out, if it stays like this.
So looking at the 2024, like what they gave the Longhorns, I'm interested to see what the Aggies got, because I think they're doing just every school in the SEC plays 8 other SEC teams. I think doesn't know for this 1 year at least, 2024. There's no kind of East-West thing. Is that right?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Because Texas has OU, they're at Arkansas, which Arkansas views, that's kind of a rivalry. I mean, I know there's a lot of old games, but then Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, at Aggie, at Vandy.
So there's going to be 16 SEC programs. The SEC East and West have been done away with for the time being. The majority of the rivalries have been retained by the conference. Yeah, so it looks like... Yeah.
So it looks like they're considering the Longhorns rivals as Aggie, OU, Arkansas. And then I'm guessing maybe the Aggies are playing Texas, LSU.
Has it here, at home we play Arkansas, LSU, Missouri, Texas. And then our away games are going to be Auburn, Florida, Mississippi State, and South Carolina. That's a pretty nice away schedule, I won't lie. You guys are playing at home Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State. Away, you're playing Arkansas, Oklahoma, us, and Vanderbilt. Juggernaut Vandy.
Vandy is loving this more than anybody. Just more money
Yeah.
for them never, ever contributing to the pot.
Yeah, they're like, whatever, sure. Dude, Tennessee, I forgot Tennessee's been really good.
Y'all got Aggies got Tennessee?
I don't think so.
And then I have the
No.
Sooners 2024 schedule here. They got Bama at home. All-time series, OU leads 3-2 and 1. Then they got Auburn away, LSU away, Missouri away, Ole Miss away, South Carolina at home, Tennessee at home, and then they play UT in Dallas. That is actually much harder than the Longhorns' first schedule in the SEC.
Was that in order?
I believe it's in order. I just don't think they have dates set. I don't know if actually. Hold on.
So they play 4 away games in a row? No way.
No, that can't be right. You're
Yeah.
right. So that
That would be nice actually, because then they get a nice home stretch. And
No,
their
it's
away games.
they just
aren't
had
that
it in
bad.
alpha. It was just alphabetical order. They haven't chosen dates yet. They just know the opponents.
Gotcha.
So I would say LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss has been pretty good. Tennessee, that's much harder than. I mean, I know Texas plays Georgia, but Kentucky and Vanderbilt.
Bama and Oklahoma would be cool. So I guess you guys aren't playing Bama for probably a couple of years since you just played them, huh? Last year and this year, coming up.
Yeah, I would assume. I think that's why they didn't put them in the first 2024 thing, because they're gonna have. Yeah, they've already played 2 years in a row, and I think we had actually scheduled Florida after that, maybe. Texas also plays Michigan in 2024, so it's gonna be a tough schedule.
Yeah, y'all play Florida and Georgia at home. I guess if you had to get them somewhere, that's I guess good, because your away schedule. I mean, Oklahoma's a neutral game. Your away schedule's not bad. We're your toughest away schedule. You play Arkansas, Oklahoma
For sure.
neutral, us, and Vanderbilt. So, yeah, y'all schedule. People were hyping it up, but
It's
doesn't-
much easier than OU's. Looking at OU's, I would think OU got the worst of that deal. I guess you could pitch that Arkansas does view it as a rivalry. Like, that's a big game. And it's at Arkansas again. They set the attendance record last time Texas played them for their stadium.
Yeah. I would say Oklahoma, has a tougher schedule. They play Bama and Tennessee, who's been good the last few years, and then they play you guys on a neutral field. That's their home games.
Well, do you think Tennessee keeps it up?
I mean, I think they had another good recruiting class, if I remember right.
That's gonna be
2023, right? That's what's coming up. So they're number 10 right now.
2023.
Ooh, A&M's 15. I hate that. Although,
Yeah, these are already set. These things, those 2023 recruiting's done.
yeah. Although the average isn't too bad, I guess. Let's see. Look ahead at 2024 just for shits and giggles, even though there's not a lot. Tennessee's 13. Georgia's already got 3 5-stars for 2024. So does Bama.
Yeah, I was looking at that. They've already got something crazy, 19 commits, huh?
I don't know.
think Texas
A&M's
has
already got 4
5.
4-stars. That's not bad. Yeah, Bama has 3 5-stars and 4 4-stars. 1 3-star for 2024. Tennessee's got 7 4-stars and 5 3-stars. Georgia's got 19 already. 3
That's gonna be
5-stars,
a-
11 4-stars, and 4 3-stars. That's pretty nuts.
Now with another thing that I didn't even think of until you started reading these teams. So let's say that you're reading all these 5-stars that Bama and Georgia have already. If the Longhorns and Aggies and OU were already playing all in the same thing, players are going to recruits are going to watch these teams play, and it's going to increase more flips for recruiting. The games are going to mean more, I think, because they're going to use it as sales pitches for sure. And it's all like now you have, I guess, a point of reference to flip somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much that plays into like, if they see like one school beat another school. I'm not sure how much. I guess what does matter is like sometimes like high school recruits will go watch a game, right? They like invite them out to a game. I mean, I guess it does matter. Maybe if they're at that game, they get like caught up in the moment if they have a big win against like a big school or something. But like I don't know how much like watching on TV, like if they see like let's say they're going to go to Georgia, but then like Tennessee has an amazing year, like I don't know how much that like really affects them per se, like just from like a game to game basis. I mean, to be honest with you, college recruiting is so weird to me. Like I don't know how you like obviously if you're Bama or like OU or Texas or like even an A&M, like I can get the pitch, I can kind of see it. But like if you're like a Michigan or like a Florida State or like kind of like this tier 2 team, like that's got to be a hard sell trying to get like 5 stars and shit like that to commit to your school. Like that's really got to be like really a tough job. I mean, I don't know how you do it, to be honest.
I wonder, like, is Miami still living off of the U kind of thing? Like,
Yeah,
how have
exactly.
they're consistently up there, and they've been probably as disappointing as Texas for the last decade.
Yeah. I mean, but
I
like
mean,
like Oregon, like they used to be good
Oregon
and
did have
like
the sweet unis at the right time as far as
yeah.
being able. They're probably they got to be pitching all their like you're gonna get all these different uniform things. These traditional programs. Texas doesn't change their uniforms at all, so you're only gonna get 2 there.
Yeah, or like Penn State, like that's got to be
Yeah.
another kind of like well, I could go to as a 5 star, I go to Michigan or Ohio State and it's like, "No, come to Penn State." And it's like I don't know, man. I mean,
Hey, the
one thing about A&M
Penn
like
State wideout was pretty cool.
yeah, like one thing about A&M is like we do have some of the best facilities in the nation for sure. Like I know like Texas and LSU just got like a new one a couple years ago and stuff too, but yeah, like I don't know, that's got to be a tough pitch if you're like a tier 2 or 3 team. What do you think about Ewers and Manning? I think Ewers is the guy, to be honest with you.
Oh, he's honestly Manning is 3 right now. Our other quarterback who I think he was a 4-star. He went to the Elite 11. I think he did pretty well in the Elite 11, but he was injured all of last year. Um, he looks so good that it's not even like really a conversation amongst people like in Austin of like there's a clear 1-2 right now, and then Arch is going to be developing. I think the way Ewers like there's reports that he's like shredded this year. I think he saw like I can't just rely on talent. Last year he started out looking good, but then he saw like really quick like if I don't continue to work and you know study probably as much as everybody else, then I can't just go out there and fling it around as he probably did in high school, right? Like, so
For sure.
hopefully he's realized that, and Sark has been pitching like all of his year 2 quarterbacks, like Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer. Like that was the year they really took off. I think he got Jake Locker drafted like top 10 or something in Washington. So,
Yeah, I heard Ewers has put on some weight, which is good.
so
Um, yeah.
I think they've clearly gone all in. I mean, if you look at the wide receivers they brought in a guy from Georgia. They doubled down in recruiting on really high wide receivers. They brought back their top 2 from last year and their top tight end. It's all offense. It's going to be all Ewers with Bijan and Roshan gone. So I'm hoping, but I do believe that he does well, because if he does well, it could be a really, really good year. And they should be favored to win the Big 12, which, of course, the rest of the Big 12 would be. They're going to absolutely hate it if Texas sucks forever, but wins the Big 12 and the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, I think Ewers is the man. I think he'll. I don't know. I mean, hopefully we only have to play him for like a year or 2, but we'll see. So he'll be. This will be his second year of eligibility, right?
So this is his 3rd year in college. He was at Ohio State as a true freshman. He just didn't really play.
He wasn't redshirted, right?
Oh, he might have been redshirted, but I mean, his eligibility, like he will be able to go to the draft after this year.
Okay, but his final year could be the first year in the SEC if he stays.
If he stays, then yes.
Okay.
Right now, like the way that most people I think want it to work out in order to like keep Arch Manning, right, would be that he has a great year, leaves, and then Arch takes over first year. Because I don't think even Arch Manning, for he says all the right things, right? You expect him to, coming from that football family of like he's going to work and he's not going to take NIL money until he earns it. Those kind of things. He still doesn't want to sit for 2 years out of 4, right? So I think best case scenario would probably be one this year with Ewers does so good that he gets that first round pick, leaves, and then Arch Manning, at least he competes with Malik Murphy's the guy who's 2 now, competes and then wins the job, because that allows us literally to keep these 3 quarterbacks that seems to be like too crowded of a room right now. But that would be greatest case scenario right there, to just keep the competition alive, and then Arch Manning kind of wins it, and then maybe Malik Murphy is content with being a backup, or maybe he just transfers. But either way, it shows other quarterbacks, that are thinking about coming to Texas that, you're always going to have a chance to compete or whatever. And hopefully it's high level for a few years, because it hasn't been, other than Ellinger, it wasn't really high level.
Old Ellinger, yeah. Dude, I don't know. It'll be interesting though. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. What's the word in Texas? I mean, like I think Aggies kind of felt it was inevitable we'd eventually play again. So like I think that, I don't know, was it McElroy or whatever was saying like A&M's being like really like being like pathetic or something.
He said
they're being sore losers or something. They should just play Texas at Texas. That's
something something like complex, I think is what he said. Let me look it up.
Inferiority complex or something. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. And I'm wondering, is he kind of reporting for like some kind of news thing in Texas now, like some sports thing in Texas? Because he always had a lot to say about it. Maybe he's from Texas.
I don't know, but yeah, that's like one of those things where like, like, we're like, we don't want to be little brother anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I think he just expects A&M to fall in line, and that's where it's like, we gotta like stick by our guns and be like, no, we're playing at Kyle Field first 2 years. Like, that's just the way it's got to be, Like,
it is pretty funny that they're like, whatever, let them come, but we're getting back-to-back games in the rivalry at home.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta. I mean, why not try it?
I wish I could have been there in that studio and been like, this isn't 10 years ago, bro. This is 2023. We're talking, all right?
It is a ballsy move, because if the Aggies lose that game, then you're going to hear like, well, we just beat you twice at your place in a row, right?
Oh, I mean,
so
win or lose, I don't. It is what it is. I don't really care. I think it's more important that we get y'all to come to us though first. I think that's important. I don't know. Maybe we awoken the beast. Maybe it was a bad move, but like, I think that was the right move for A&M to hold out on that. And also the SEC, I think, owes it to A&M a little bit to be like, A&M gets home field first 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, they came to us, like, we took them. They've been a great team since they got here. You guys are like coming after all that, so it's kind of like you guys kind of need to go to Kyle Field and play. Dude, that place is. Dude, we got to get tickets for real. That place is going to be a madhouse, man. Absolutely.
Man, what would be cool is, let's say, Stark's got this offense going, right? The QBs are doing well. It'll be awesome to see, like, because you kind of want that high-flying Big 12. I know the SEC, the offenses now are, like, pretty damn good. But it would be cool to see, like, kind of like the remnants of the Big 12 high-flying offense, but, like, versus the SEC team, they got more, like, they got more trenches, y'all got like 50 D linemen kind of thing of like, let's just battle it out. Like all the stuff we've been talking about for 10 years.
Yeah. Kyle Field now has a capacity of almost 103,000 people, man. It's
Dang,
fucking crazy, dude.
Is that the most in college football?
I don't know, but that's got to be up there.
I think it might be number 1.
I think after the expansion, it might be.
I thought it might have been a little more than that.
Number 4.
You are looking live at the nation's
Who's
largest
up there?
stadium.
Who's it? Penn State?
Number 1 is Michigan. Number 2 is Penn State. Number 3 is Ohio State, and then number 4 is A&M. Dang, y'all's is number 8. I didn't think y'all's was that big, to be honest.
They've been adding to it.
Have they? Okay, yeah. It's been a while since I've been there.
The end zones weren't really anything, and now I think they've built up the right end zone. So I'm not even sure if they have both end zones right now, like where you can sit down. But yeah, they've been. I mean, more money. They're going to keep making these stadiums bigger, trying to cram people in.
Yeah. So there's So y'all are the first one. The top 8 schools crack 100,000 capacity. Y'all are just over 100,000, and then Michigan's like 107,600. That's crazy, dude. That's just so gnarly. Because those are bigger than pro stadiums and shit.
Oh, yeah, much bigger. I think college has. I don't think any pro stadiums. They're probably like the biggest. Like, what's Jerry World?
What is that? AT&T.
Yeah.
Uh, 80,000.
80,000. That's got to be the biggest in the NFL, huh?
Yeah, it looks like they have the ability to expand it to 105,000. I wonder if that's for like boxing matches or something where they move seats onto the field kind of thing.
Yeah.
Didn't they do an All-Star game there? An NBA All-Star game?
I saw that Bill Synthetic wants to know who drinks Diet Pepsi.
Oh, that's one of my buddies I met at A&M Galveston. I don't know if I told you about him. He was like my doppelganger. Like we used to play basketball and stuff. Like we kind of looked the same too.
Was he on the team that got absolutely trashed by the UTMB?
No, he was only there I think for 1 year, and then maybe he might have been on our first intramural team, but I don't think we won that one. And then we went back to back. I think after he left, and then that second year of that back to back, we played the UT team where they smoked us. We didn't realize we were gonna be playing like grown men. like one guy was like this old Marine. He was like 6'4", like yoked out of his mind. There's like a couple guys who could dunk. It was like.
Did you say you thought it was gonna be a bunch of nerdy doctors?
Yeah, we totally thought we were gonna roll them, dude. I was in my head. I was like, we're about to roll this UTMB people. Like, no way they they play every day and stuff like that. And they're all like 25, 26, like in the prime of their athletic career. Like they came out with like a full court press. Like they're picking us up the whole way. It was like, fuck, dude. These guys have like set plays and shit. We're getting crushed. Yeah, we got absolutely demolished. My dad even drove down for that game. It was.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Ryan brought up something in the chat. We went to that TCU UT game, and have you been to like a super packed college football game at like that kind of level, like an Aggie or a Texas game, and like one of those huge, like big time games? Because it was like claustrophobic. Like when we were trying to, if you leave your seats, right, and you go out to like the concession thing or whatever, you're in just like a sea of just like this trying to move around. It's insane.
I remember, I mean, I was kind of young, but I remember the feeling at the Ricky Williams game. It was pretty gnarly. Like I went with my dad and my uncle, and I remember them kind of like, you know, like keeping me close because like it was packed, dude. I mean, we were like 6th, 7th grade or something at that time. Like we were young.
It is.
And yeah,
and there's no cell phones then. You split up in that thing. That's gonna be annoying to find somebody.
My uncle Rusty, he's kind of like a UT guy, a little bit. And my dad's an Aggie, so of course, like we all went and stuff. But that was also when Dat Win was crushing it too. The GOAT Dat Win for sure. I love that.
Is there any other Aggies, the Cowboys kind of things there, or is that like the best one?
Oh, that's the best one for sure. Only because there was like one year Dallas had like a top 3 defense, and we had like four to
Martellus
6.
Bennett.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had like 4 to 6 Pro Bowlers on the defense, and Datwin was leading the team in tackles and didn't make the Pro Bowl. Like, it was such bullshit. I was so pissed. But like he was easily like the guy making it happen. You know, he was like the motor, filling all the gaps like on defense, and he just got he doesn't make like big plays, but he makes every play. You know, that kind of thing.
He was literally
he's
Sean
always
Lee
around.
before Sean Lee.
Yeah.
Like, y'all didn't learn the lesson with that win, and they got Sean Lee, and it was the same thing. When he's playing, he's awesome, right? No, nothing super flashy, running around out there quick, and still able to make a hit, but just too small kind of for the position.
Yeah, Sean Lee got like a lot of interceptions though and stuff like that. He made a few more like big plays than Datwin. Datwin was just always around though. That was like his thing.
Yeah, it was more of a running time back then though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think he hurt his neck, and like once you hurt your neck in pro football, that's kind of it. Unless you play kicker or quarterback or something, some pussy position.
Something worth lifting is optional.
Yeah, exactly. Well, shit. You got anything else?
One crazy thing that I was looking up when I was trying to figure out like why Texas like went all in at that specific time to like, all right, we're gonna double down and make a network on ourselves. I was looking up like, so baseball, they had won in 2002 and 05, but they made the championship game in 04 and 09. And then football, obviously, they won in 05 and they made the championship game in 2009. And then that the basketball Elite Eight. Well, they made the Final Four in 03, 04, but Elite Eight was like 06 and 08. So I think like, because I remember the college football or the college games when they were still making like baseball and football and all that for college before they got taken away. There was like one year, and I couldn't remember if it was the 03, 04 years where they were all in the championships for all 3 sports, or the kind of 09 years where Texas was on the cover of all of them. And I was like, they literally peaked, made the bet on themselves, and then tanked.
Yeah, I kind of remember that too. Like, because they were crushing it. I do remember that, and that's probably even why ESPN was like, "Hey, we should like." They're
always on the network anyways.
And also the way it's set up, again, like you guys, like clearly the best college team in Texas. Like you're in the Big 12, OU's like your only real probably competition most of the time. Like it seemed like a good bet, you know, if you're ESPN, like UT will be in the conversation for a while, you know. And then
imagine the guy who tells his boss, "Look, this is a for sure thing.
I got this stock. I got this
There
stock.
is no way. Like, look at the history of this school.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna suck for a decade? Like, I will bet my job on it."
Yeah.
Then straight downhill.
That is kind of crazy. I do remember that you guys were like crushing it pretty good.
From clearly from everything we said here, we can come to the conclusion that OU is just gonna get demolished in the SEC.
I mean, I don't know, man. You never know. Like, this could help them too. You know, like they get to now maybe even get a little bit bigger of a national reach now, like even more than what they had. I mean, you just never know. You know.
Yeah, I think they're actually gonna. I don't think people are gonna expect them to bounce back as like quickly as they're going to, but they had. It's not like they lost a lot of talent, right? They just went from offense to a defensive coach, like, and that takes a lot of buy-in, right? To go from Lincoln Riley and his kind of stuff to Venables, but they did pretty awesome in recruiting. So
I expect USC to get back on the map too with the new NIL rules. Like I expect them to be. I mean, I hope not as good as they were at that one point, but yeah, I expect them to also capitalize on the NIL too. They have a lot to gain as well.
For sure, they already had a pretty sweet sales pitch as it is.
Marketing in LA, like holy shit, dude.
Oh yeah, like even if they can say, hey, we're not going to pay you as much, but you're going to get like like other offers. You're in like you could start acting if you want. You could start trying to be a broadcaster, like starting to like put in work on that if you wanted to do that after you went to college or whatever.
I've also wondered how it works, like, because I was thinking about, like, just like thinking about A&M or something, like if a booster or somebody can go to like a car dealership and be like, hey, can we promise this kid like a commercial, or like what all are you allowed to do with that? Like if you can do that in LA, like going to some like movie producer or something and being like, can this guy get 3 spots in your TV show? That's like a hit TV show or something. I'm wondering if you're allowed to do that.
I mean, I would imagine that using your name, image, likeness, right? Like, I think if someone just wants to put you in a commercial, they'll pay to put you in a commercial, right? So I wonder if it's not the university doing it, right? Like I know the university can pay, like they can guarantee you, and then you could probably go out and get your own stuff after that. That's what I would imagine.
But I'm saying like as a recruiting tool, like before you go into a kid's house.
Oh, beforehand, like promise them a deal with like so and so car dealership.
Yeah, like what if USC wanted Arch Manning, and so some booster who talks to the coach and knows this director is like, hey coach, like tell Arch Manning I can get him, two spots in, whatever a hit TV show is. I don't know. Like
right.
I'll get him 2 segments in a TV show if he comes to USC, or two per year or whatever. Like that'd be a crazy recruiting pitch. There's a lot of kids that take that too.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to see if you can kind of promise this to a college athlete. I don't really know how to word that.
Maybe we look this up and talk about it later. But yeah, I've always wondered, like, that's a crazy pitch, man.
Oh, so I don't think that you can enter into like a deal beforehand, right? So there can be nothing like, from what it looks like, you can't like, there's no like written or verbal. I don't think you're supposed to be able to do that. So probably the school has to guarantee the money. They're probably, they're going to be they're going to be shady about it.
Yeah,
say like,
a wink and
look,
a nod.
we guarantee like we'll give you X amount, but we think you'll probably get this amount. Yeah. And we're fairly certain you will, kind of thing.
Yeah, they'll say, oh, well, considering your last name and you're like the number 1 quarterback in the nation,
right.
we think you'll be able to do X, Y, Z, wink, wink, like.
Yeah.
And I may know a guy who can do that for you. Yeah. Dude, USC, dude, fuck that, dude. If they can do that, that's freaking, that's nuts. Too bad New York doesn't have any, like, I guess Syracuse, right? That's their biggest. Rutgers or Syracuse? No, I guess Rutgers in New York. Syracuse, though, I guess I can't think of another New York team.
No, like, as far as, like, Northeast, I don't know, like, you're getting more like Midwest with like Notre Dame.
But I'm just thinking of like
Yeah, I'm trying to think like close to that. Like
there's NYU, I guess. That's not really.
Nah, they ain't doing shit in football.
No, I can't see any.
UMass ain't any good.
I guess yeah, Syracuse to be the only one I can think of. Yeah, that's a huge advantage. I know that's what my pitch would be. Oh, you remember OJ and all those commercials he was in? Yeah, we can do that in college now.
Wonder how many people are still sales pitching OJ.
Yeah, hopefully nobody. All right. Well, shit, that was a good one. Anything else?
No, feels good to be live again.
Yeah, I know, right? It does. Too bad Ren's fucking in chat, but he couldn't make it. But we'll get him next time.
Yeah, get your AC fixed, Ryan.
Yeah, and then I guess also, like, you won the trifecta last year. I don't think we ever officially announced it. You freaking crushed it, so. Yeah. Where you at, Vegas? I'm coming. So we'll have to do that again this year, see if we can tweak any rules that make it a little better. But I mean, you just hit them. We didn't, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's probably it for this.